And so no matter what, no matter how young or old the person might be and is, saying, I want to do this, you listen to the person. We've had presidents that have run this country way younger than the age I am right now. And even though I've got good looks, it doesn't mean that I'm that young.
Okay. Thank God for good looks. Okay, so let's get down to it. Tell us, what would you do differently as regards governance in this country?
First of all, I think our people are totally disengaged from agreeing with the fact that they even are Nigerians. And so what I really want to start with is to have a united front. We must be united people before we can become a progressive people. And in trying to have a united people, we must embrace ourselves, regardless of all of those things that have always divided us: ethnicity, religion, political party, ideological affiliations, gender, social status, even age bracket. And say, look, for us to move together as a people, we would have to create that atmosphere that must make our people realize that we must come together on this journey to save Nigeria, to salvage Nigeria. And the biggest problem is when people, no matter who you bring out from to represent the country, whatever side of the divide the person is coming from, some people from other parts of the country will never accept anything he is doing, whether it's positive. So the problem is the mindset. The problem is the body language of the leadership. It has to be right. The second thing that we're really going to be doing here is to have a proper security system. And the reason why we cannot have proper security is that we do not have proper data management systems. So we're having a country that is being run, and if you go through Maradi in Katsina or Kanu, you find people coming from Niger Republic every day with the intention not to return. You go to the Chad and you hear that we're being attacked by suspected Boko Haram men. You come to Lagos area and you find people coming in from the borders, from semi-border, with the intention never to go back. These people are coming. We're not having proper data management systems to account how long they're going to stay, where they're going to be staying, when they intend to leave, what they're going to be doing. These are the problems. So no matter the kind of infrastructure you put in place, it can't hold because we don't even know how many people exist in this country. If I ask you how many people exist, you tell me a figure, she tells me a slightly different figure. These figures could be 20 million, 30 million apart. Nobody can have a progressive country if you cannot plan, if you cannot forecast. That is why security is not working. The third part is that we must decentralize this country. And when we talk about decentralization, we're talking about everything as it even concerns the institutions. The people cannot really identify where it is going wrong. That is because the center is holding too much and it's breaking. It's falling apart. If you break these things, institutions into state and local government, the people will know exactly who to hold accountable should anything be falling short. The fourth thing is we have to leverage on our comparative economic advantages. Now, we've come to the point where we don't have to love each other anymore. Nigerians will not embrace each other for any reason. The only thing that's going to bring people together is economic viability. We have to identify, we have to let the people know, oh, somewhere in Area Market in Aba, you have leather shoes, bags, and belts that is being manufactured in clusters of about 50,000 people only in Aba. If you go to Kano in Sharada, you find people who have been beating leather for the last 200 years, living in abject poverty. Recently, Louis Vuitton released a report saying that that Kano State is the second largest supplier of leather. It's not exciting because when you go to Sharada, you still see the people beating the leather, semi-processed. And when the people take the leather from Kano to Louis Vuitton in France, they actually buy from this man selling this leather, a 3 meter by 3 meter piece of leather for $3 and make about 6 pairs of shoes selling at about $5,000 on the shelves in Louis Vuitton. What stops these people? What stops the governor of Kano State and the governor of Abia State to say, you know what? We've identified some commonalities in the things we can do together. Can we get the leather from Kano, bring them to Area Market, make some money, and But when we went to Area Market, we asked the people, where do you get your leather from? I mean, your local resource from? And they said, some of us we get from Congo, some say from Turkey. This was disheartening for me. This is wrong. Because at the end of the day, we're not adding up. These are the things that government is supposed to do. When that happens, you don't see any Igbo man angry with a Hausa man or a Hausa man angry with an Igbo man because they've found a way to come together to do something for economic viability. And then the last thing, which is the crucial thing, is this data management systems. There is no how we can plan. There is no how we can forecast if we do not have a plan. You talked about your children earlier on the show. I know you know the number. I know if you have a house up, you know who she is. I know you know your wife. So if your household could probably be 6 or 7 people. And because there are about 6 or 7 people in your household, you know what to plan. You know what to get for them. But we're running this place like a jungle. Nobody knows anything. These are our plans.
Okay. You've reeled out very beautiful ideas.
Yes.
Beautiful things you're looking at. So let's go back again.
Yes, please.
Step back. You've started from we need to unify
yes.
before we can make progress.
Right.
How do we do that? You started from mindset.
Yes.
Let's start from there.
Good.
Mindset.
So, for example, you have a leadership that still decides to display where his religious activities take place, knowing fully well that we run a country where we're so divided on religious grounds. Or you run as a leader in a country where very clearly people are complaining about the people working in your cabinet or in your system as close allies, family members, or people from your own region. Those things send a wrong signal to the people. Or there's havoc has been created in one part of the country and you sit down, relax, like nothing is happening. It happens in another part of the country that does concern you, and then you move. These things send wrong signals to the people. These are the places, these are the areas where we leave the people. And then most importantly, we must start letting the people know that, look, we are going through the same problems as a people. The traffic that we went through today to get to Channel's stations, Channel studios, on that traffic, we had Muslims, we had Christians, we had Igbos, we had Yorubas, we had Efik. Everybody followed it. We need to understand that, look, these things do not select us. These things are the same across board. These things, the schools that we go to, the schools our children attend, they're the same things. No, whatever comes from the teacher's mouth, whatever facilities are around, will affect everybody regardless of your divide. So when we talk about how we can, follow up with the mindset, it's beyond a clearly defined paperwork. It has to do with the body language. It has to do with what we're ready to sell. It has to do with what we're ready to represent or present to the people. But look, at a time in this country, we had a leader who would go to a church, kneel on the floor. It sent a wrong signal to some other part of the country. These things must be treated, as personal matters. We ran this country at a point where military men were in charge. You can't tell me you saw any of the military men attached to some sort of religion or anything like that. It wasn't the bane. We saw this in this country where people from different states, say somebody from Akwa Ibom was the governor of Niger State. Somebody from Sokoto State was the governor of Lagos State. Somebody from Adamawa was the governor of Lagos State. Did he perform? Of course he did, because it was based on competence. Now we have made it look like, we have to satisfy some unfortunate mindset that we have created and we're now trying to instill into the people. I'll give you another example. We're talking about two main presidential candidates today because most of us think it has to come from the north. Sadly, those are the least on the table when it comes to competence, when it comes to antecedents, when it comes to what they can deliver.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
It has to come from the north?
That's what it looked like. I mean, why would China be talking about two main presidential candidates here? Why would the two major parties tell you that it's about zoning?
Because they are representing the two major parties.
And the two major parties clearly told you that they have the zone to the north.
Okay, you know what? We'll take a moment. We'll come back to look at this matter. It's not channels. The entire country talks about two main parties. And if they can teach you, they'll tell you the same. But we'll look at all of this when we come back from this.